Hey everybody, this is my quick CVS shopping trip. Today is December the 19th, 2014. I did happen to do this transaction last night, December 18th, 2014. But I'm just now making this video. This is really going to be like a informational video regarding the percent off CVS coupons that we get in our email and how they take off your percent. And whenever you're using extra care bucks, sometimes the extra care bucks don't get applied. They kind of get kicked out of the computer system. Okay, so this was part of the spend 20 get $10 in extra care bucks, and I usually just pass these deals on by. For one, this one and only CVS store is very expensive, and they do not have like the really cheap Eucerin products. These 16.9 fluid ounce bottles is $7.99 in my store, and then the 2 ounce is $5.79. And I had 4 of the $1.50 off manufacturer coupons, and I always get 2 newspapers, but this particular time I had 2 inserts that had 2 of these coupons, and I had another 2 newer inserts that had 2 more of the coupons. So the ones that came in the long time ago, probably like November insert, I believe those coupons will be expiring on the 21st. And the most recent coupons that we got for these, the coupon will be expiring like at the beginning of the year. So that's how I happen to have 4, but I only used 3 coupons. Okay, so I wanted to test out a theory of mine. I had a 20% off CVS coupon that was going to be expiring yesterday, so I went ahead and took advantage of that. And I also had a 30% off any CVS brand lotion or just any lotion period. That was a CVS coupon that printed from the red box machine. So I wanted to apply those both in one transaction just to see how it would work. And it worked out perfectly fine. I did happen to use $6 of my extra care bucks, but as I figured out when I got home and looked at my receipt, $1 extra care buck never came off. So sometimes, if you use certain kind of extra care bucks and the percent off coupon, sometimes one or the other gets bumped off. So everything here was $21.77. Now, I do happen to have the $2 off coupons, but these are for the baby Eucerin products. So I was not going to use that coupon on these because these were in the regular lotion aisle. These are not baby products. So I still have 4 of those coupons. So this is what the receipt looks like. The 2 ounce Eucerin is $5.79. The 16.9 fluid ounce bottles are $7.99. I used 3 of my $1.50 off manufacturer coupons. My 30% off coupon took off $6.54. And then my 20% off coupon took off $3.05. And then the $5 that you see here is the $5 extra care buck. Now my $1 extra care buck is nowhere on here because it was never taken off. And my subtotal was $2.68, and then I did get back a $10 extra care buck. $24.42 away from receiving another extra care buck, a $5 beauty buck, but this total up here was $21.77, so I'm pretty sure that will be applied to that. So anyways, I got home and I tried to figure out, how my percents came off. So this is how it works. The 20% off coupon is not going to be applied until after you use your CVS coupon. $21.77, 30% coupon was applied first, even though he did key in my 20% first, but somehow it stays on the register until it decides it wants to kick in. So 30% was applied first, $6.54 it took off, left my total at $15.23. Then the 20% kicked in effect and took off $3.05. Left my total at $12.18 minus $4.50 in Eucerin coupons. Got my total down to $7.68 minus $6 in extra care bucks, $1.68. However, that $1 was never applied, so I paid $2.68. So if I wanted to think about it like this, okay, what if the 20% came off first? It would have took off $4.35, left a balance of $17.42. Then the 30% will come off. It'll take off $5.22. Leave a balance of $12.20 minus $4.50 in Eucerin coupons. Subtotal will be $7.70 minus $6 in extra care bucks. It'll be $1.70. However, the dollar wouldn't come off. It'd be $2.70, $2.68. So it's like 2 pennies difference, even if it was vice versa. But you know, just be aware that when you use these percent off coupons, you know, you're going to subtract, you know, sometimes if you use a beauty buck, like the $5 beauty buck, sometimes if you use that along with a percent off coupon, your balance is not going to, that percent is not going to kick in until after your beauty buck has been subtracted from your total. You get what I'm saying? So just play around with the numbers, because sometimes, you know, what you're thinking you're going to be paying is not really what you're going to be paying. Because sometimes those percent offs, you know, if you're using, like I said, a beauty buck and a percent off in the transaction, it won't work sometimes. And they usually have to manually force it in depending on how nice your cashier is. You know, but I didn't have any trouble tonight, you know, well, yesterday doing this transaction. It's just that my dollar was never applied. I mean, I gave it to him, but for some reason, you know, when I looked at the little red, you know, how the little scanner of the, on the side, when you're seeing all your coupons being applied, there was a lot of voids, and then it'll pop back on the register. You know, it'll pop back on my total, and then it'll be voided off again, and he had to keep punching in buttons. So maybe that's what happened during my transaction, that whenever he was trying to put the 20% back on with the 30%, you know, it was like kicking out my $1 extra care buck, because it's not even on my receipt showing that it was, you know, denied or anything. Okay, so anyways, that's my informational video. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. Bye-bye.